Brothers and sisters, welcome. For this week's Congregation Bible Study, we will explore lessons 48 and 49. These accounts come from the lives of Elijah, the prophet of Jehovah, and the rulers of Israel during a critical and spiritually corrupt period. These are not just stories of the past, they reveal what Jehovah values today: faith, loyalty, justice, and courage, and help us build trust in His promises. As we go through this material, think about what principles can strengthen your personal relationship with Jehovah and increase your confidence in His direction. Let us begin with Lesson 48. A widow's son came back to life. Our account opens during a severe drought in Israel, a disaster brought upon the land because the people had turned away from Jehovah. During this time, Jehovah had been guiding Elijah, providing for him in miraculous ways. But now Jehovah instructs something surprising. According to 1 Kings 17:8-9, Jehovah tells Elijah to travel to the foreign city of Zarephath and assures him that a widow there would supply food for him. Imagine being Elijah. He is instructed to seek help from a destitute widow in a land not even part of Israel, a place filled with Baal worship. Yet, with no hesitation recorded, Elijah obeys Jehovah's direction. At the city gate, Elijah finds the widow. She is incredibly poor. She is gathering wood, likely to prepare the last meal she will ever make. Elijah asks her for water, and then, as she goes to get it, he calls out asking for bread. We can picture the widow pausing, turning back, and explaining the heartbreaking truth. She has only enough flour and oil to feed herself and her young son one final time. Her words reveal her hopeless state. This is when Elijah presents Jehovah's promise. He tells her that if she trusts Jehovah by preparing some bread for him first, Jehovah will ensure that her flour and oil will never run out until the drought ends. Here is a moment of decision. This widow has every logical reason not to comply. She does not owe this man anything. She is not an Israelite. She is not even someone who necessarily knows Jehovah personally. Yet she acts with trust. Not in Elijah, but in the God he represents. She chooses faith over fear. The result is remarkable. The jars that should have emptied never do. Day after day, Jehovah keeps his word. He sustains this little family and his prophet. This demonstrates an important principle. Jehovah is not limited by human circumstances. When we trust him first, he provides what we truly need. Jesus later echoed this same point in Luke 12:24, reminding us that Jehovah even feeds the ravens and that our value to him is far greater. This widow joined those ravens in being recipients of Jehovah's loving provision. However, the account takes a tragic turn. The widow's son becomes gravely ill and dies. For a moment, it seems like her trust in Jehovah may have been for nothing. She is overwhelmed and turns to Elijah, questioning why this sorrow has reached her home. Elijah carries the child to an upstairs room and prays fervently to Jehovah. Notably, this is the first recorded resurrection in the Bible. Up to this point, no one has ever been brought back to life. Elijah's request is unprecedented, but Jehovah answers. The child's life returns, and Elijah presents him to his mother alive. Her faith, which started with providing a simple piece of bread, is now strengthened in a way she could never have imagined. This lesson reinforces that while trust in Jehovah may not prevent every hardship, it positions us to see His power clearly at the right time. We may face trials or situations that seem unsolvable, yet Jehovah sees beyond what we can see. He has purposes we cannot always anticipate. Elijah's actions also reveal that he was truly Jehovah's prophet. He upheld Jehovah's word, acted with compassion, and Jehovah confirmed his authenticity with miracles. When we see Jehovah's guidance proven in our own lives, even in small ways, our confidence in him deepens. Let us reflect on two questions. How did the widow show her trust in Jehovah? She acted in faith when she had almost nothing, prioritizing Jehovah's command over her immediate fear. How do we know that Elijah was a true prophet of God? Jehovah backed his words with real evidence, including the resurrection miracle, proving that Elijah truly represented him. Before we move to Lesson 49, let us take a moment to personally ask, where can I choose trust instead of fear? Where might I need to put Jehovah first, even when my circumstances seem limited? Now we continue with Lesson 49. A wicked queen is punished. This lesson shifts the tone sharply. The previous account highlighted the blessings that come from trusting Jehovah. This one highlights the consequences of rejecting him. King Ahab of Israel was already known for disregarding Jehovah's standards, but his wife Jezebel was even worse. The Bible describes her as a ruthless supporter of idolatry and a determined enemy of Jehovah's servants. Jezebel's actions were not just personally immoral, they influenced an entire nation to turn farther away from their God. Our focus begins with a vineyard in Jezreel owned by Naboth. Ahab wants this property. He offers to buy it or trade for it, but Naboth refuses. Not out of greed, but obedience. According to Jehovah's law, inherited land was not to be sold permanently. Naboth's loyalty to Jehovah should have been admired, especially by the king. Instead, Ahab reacts with selfish anger, sulking in his palace. Jezebel responds in a way that reveals how deeply her values have deteriorated. She arranges a scheme to have Naboth falsely accused and stoned to death. This is not an impulsive act, it is calculated. She manipulates the elders, exploits authority, and commits murder to satisfy her greed. Once Naboth is dead, she informs Ahab, and he takes possession of the vineyard. This account teaches us something sobering. Power without righteousness becomes a weapon. Jezebel had authority, influence, and confidence, but these were used against the innocent. Yet Jehovah saw everything. Even when human justice fails, divine justice does not sleep. Jehovah sends Elijah once again, this time to confront Ahab. Elijah boldly declares Jehovah's judgment. Disaster will come upon Ahab's house, and Jezebel will meet a humiliating and violent end. The prophecy is harsh because the crimes were severe. While Ahab later shows a moment of humility, Jezebel's rebellion persists. Years pass, and during the reign of their son Jehoram, Jehovah appoints Jehu to carry out the promised judgment. Jehu confronts Jehoram and executes him. Then Jehu proceeds to Jezebel's palace. This part of the account is striking. Jezebel, aware of Jehu's arrival, prepares herself. She puts on makeup and arranges her hair. Perhaps she hoped to intimidate, manipulate, or charm. But outward appearance could not hide the internal corruption that Jehovah had already judged. Jehu orders her attendants to throw her down, and they do. Jezebel dies, and the prophecy regarding her disgrace is fulfilled. Jehu later eliminates Ahab's descendants and destroys Baal worship centers. Jehovah's justice, though delayed, is complete. The message is clear. No one, regardless of status, is beyond accountability. Proverbs 20 verse 21 warns that greedily obtained inheritance will never bring lasting blessing. Let us reflect on the questions for this lesson. What did Jezebel do to get Naboth's vineyard? She orchestrated Naboth's death through lies and abuse of authority. Why did Jehovah punish Jezebel? Because she persistently practiced evil, murdered innocent servants of Jehovah, and led Israel deeper into wickedness. Before closing, let's consider how these accounts apply today. We live in a world where wickedness sometimes appears to go unpunished, and where those who do what is right are sometimes treated unfairly. But our confidence must rest in Jehovah's perspective, not human timelines. If we remain faithful, like the widow and like Naboth, Jehovah sees it. He values it, and at the right time, He will act, either by providing for us now or by rewarding us in the future under His kingdom. Meanwhile, we want to be certain that the spirit we cultivate in our daily lives is the opposite of Jezebel's. We do not want to let pride, selfish ambition, or resentment take root in our hearts. We want to be people who value righteousness more than personal advantage. People who respect Jehovah's decisions even when they are difficult. People who treat others with dignity and compassion because Jehovah sees how we treat them. To conclude, Lesson 48 showed how faith invites Jehovah's blessing. Lesson 49 showed how wickedness invites Jehovah's justice. These principles remain just as true now as they were in the days of Elijah. May we strive to be like the widow of Zarephath, demonstrating trust in small choices, knowing that Jehovah sees every faithful act. May we also avoid the path of Jezebel, remembering that Jehovah's patience has a purpose, but it also has a limit. If we choose loyalty, Jehovah will never abandon us. If we honor Him, He will strengthen us. If we trust Him, He will provide, guide, and in His perfect time bring justice to the earth. Thank you all. Let us keep these lessons in our hearts as we continue to put our confidence in our loving God, Jehovah.